Hello everyone, and welcome to Framing Metal Walls, Floors, Roofs in Revit webinar by aga-cad. And today I'll be showing how to model and document metal framing elements in Revit. So for those who are new to our webinars, let me introduce myself. I'm Andrews, I'm an architect and BIM application engineer here at aga-cad. And for those who are new to our company, let me introduce what we do. So our company creates different solutions for BIM professionals. What we do, we typically not actually professionals in metal framing or ventilated facades, but we are professionals in BIM and in Revit. And what we do, we actually talk to you guys. We meet you all around the globe, starting from New Zealand up to Canada. And we gather all your ideas, all your thoughts in our software, and we try to help to make your life easier, faster, and better. So typically we just create tools which make you more efficient by eliminating different technical tasks, as well as by decreasing human error possibilities and so on. So we try to find the ways how you can be more efficient and more productive. Today we're going to talk about metal framing tools. So as you can see here on the right, we have different solutions for different professionals, and I'll touch mostly all of them, at least a little bit, just so you can understand what those do, as well as I also really shortly talk about cut opening and smart connection, because those two tools are also included into our metal framing solutions. And before we begin, I would like to tell you that we became we actually were already Autodesk official developers, and like, I don't know, 1 year or 2 years ago, we became also IAC industry partners with our wood framing solution, and soon we hope our metal framing solutions also will be included into Autodesk IC industry partners list. And today, as you already know, we're going to talk about metal framing. I prepared another model for you just yesterday, so we will cover we will see a new model with different solutions, with actually more things to see. And using our actually software, can create really different frames. So you can use the same software to create light gouge steel. You can, using this different families and different configurations, create really detailed curtain panels. You will see that today, as well as you can create different ventilated facades and create different rules for your openings based on their size or position on the wall, as well as you can easily document everything in a matter of few seconds or minutes. And also everything is will be ready for CNC production if needed. So in a few clicks, it's possible to export everything for the CNC production really easily. And during this webinar, I'll try to cover those topics as you can see on my screen. So firstly, I'll show you how you can create different frames. Would it be a curtain wall? Would it be a ventilated facade, as you can see on that picture? Also, I'll show shortly how the clashes could be detected and openings could be inserted into your walls, floors, or roof. Would it be like intersection with structural beam, or would it be with any MEP object? There is a way how to insert all the openings automatically. Also, we'll show how you can create those frames not only for the walls, but also for roofs and floors, and also create trusses. And also try to show that it's very important not only to generate everything automatically, but also to have a possibility not actually automatically, but in a very efficient way, to add elements in some situation which can't be predefined by some general rules. And also, if something needs to be modified, also that is possible with our software. And also show you how to add all those details automatically based again on your rules and your created layouts? Would it be, I know, some insulators, insulation fasteners? Would it be some brackets to hold your frame? And also we'll be splitting your Revit walls into panels to get, I know, either the same insulation or the panels or the sheathing for your interior walls, let's say. And also I'll show you how you can apply the same changes or same frames to walls that just repeats per your project, and also show you shortly how you can really quickly dimension your views, or you can create shop tickets. So let's move to a live demonstration, and let's open my Revit. So imagine I have those profiles. Those are just regular Revit families. Actually, not very regular. We have added some parameters to them so they can be more flexible and more efficient and can work automatically in different ways. And imagine you need to apply those profiles on that wall. And if you do it manually, that would take you some time. You need firstly to choose the correct profile. Then you need to draw it on the wall. Maybe you need to rotate it. See, it's not even in that direction, so it's taking you time to place at least one profile in the correct position. When you have it, of course, you can mirror it to have it at the other end. And if you'd like to have it arrayed with some spacing, let's say by 600, say 8 elements, too much, I need maybe 6, that's fine. You see, it took me a while to create it, and it's a very simple panel. And with our software, all I need to do is just choose a wall, just draw it. And as you already once created the rules how this wall should be framed, just one click to get the result needed. And then you get all those studs the same like here, rotated and so on. And even though if your wall is even more complex, let's say you're having a stepped wall right like that maybe, it will take even more time for me to arrange all the studs, and with our software it's just enough to update or reframe that wall, and the tool again analyzes and creates everything. Imagine you would need to add a window in that wall. You would need maybe to trim those, right? First you need to split those elements, then you need maybe to trim them and so on. Maybe you need to add a header. You see, it's taking time. With our software, what you need to do is just create a rule just once, add that window there, click, the tool analyzes that window and it frames it. And for example, if we have a bigger window, we can create a different rule which will let you to frame it differently. Actually, I need also to have that wall structural because my rule was set only to frame those windows differently whenever this wall is structural. So if I just go and reframe that wall, I'll see that different windows can be automatically treated differently. So I'm getting additional header, additional trimmers, as well as my header now has 2 elements instead of 1, and 1 is rotated. So as you can see, everything can be created. Rules can be created just once, and then just the tool applies those rules and saves you time, so you don't need manually to create all those things. And for example, if you just go and need to apply horizontal elements, again, you have the rules, frame the wall, the tool adds the elements. And we have all those rules inside of the software, and right here you can create all the conditions for all the elements whenever your walls are connected in different ways, whenever different openings are there. As you can see, whenever my wall is non-structural, all openings are framed by the same configuration, but let's say if it's structural, I can add more. Of course, I can do the same for non-structural walls if needed, and so on. And here I can create all the needed configurations for the future use. And later, I can combine all those rules into one. So let's say I'm having that wall right here. Maybe let's have it with a door and the window. I can actually make it longer. And again, just in one click, I get my studs my openings as well as my plates combined into one piece, and just in a matter of seconds I getting that frame with also even with the details like anchors, I know, and service holes placed into my frame. So with the same software, actually, I can go and let's say I'm having different profiles. Let's say it would be T profile, L profile, or some other profile that would hold my panels. And with the same software, I can use just a different wall type with different configuration assigned, and all I need to do is just draw that wall. So again, make it a bit longer. And all I need to do is just go and add my frames, those elements based on my configurations to that wall type. And as you can see, I've got like some L profiles, I'm getting T profiles each third stud, and also there's like some rules that doesn't allow me to have my elements longer than some predefined length. As you can see, everything is really quickly added based on my rules, and we will come back to that wall in a few minutes. Let me just show you another example. So let's say here I have another type of elements. Those are actually the same structural framing elements, just the different profiles are being added into those. And as you can see, those are mullions, for example, glass holders, covers, some details for a curtain wall. So right now, all I need to do is just choose again my Revit curtain wall type, and all I need to do is just to draw it. Okay, we can make it actually higher again and a bit longer. And all I need to do is just go and maybe frame that wall, so I can get all my mullions placed on my Revit curtain wall, as well as I can go and add all additional layers to add glass holders, as well as maybe gaskets and covers, but I didn't apply gaskets yet because I'll apply them in a different way really soon. So as you can see again, in a matter of few seconds, I got really detailed curtain wall. Let's go back to the wall, maybe that one, and if we switch to parts, in my parts visibility window, I will see that my walls have also parts. And actually, the part also, there's a part in the center of my wall, so it actually overlaps with my main frame. And with our tool, we can create different rules how we would like to work with those parts. We can exclude those, we can split them by some layout, some rules, or actually we can also create our own line-based layout and then split those parts based on that layout. So as everything is ready, I've created those rules before the webinar, so I just need to click on the tool. It analyzes my wall and it adds those splits you see on my part. And if I'll be moving to that wall, which is the ventilated facade, I can go and do the same. I can split those parts right here. And you can see here I got panels with some gaps. Of course, I actually also can apply a different profile on that gap, so it's not like straight. It's up to you. There are configurations for that. Just right here in the vision profile, you can choose your families, which will be added on the vertical as well as horizontal gap. Now I just have just the gap. And also, as you can see on like interior of my wall, I've got like staggered splits. And actually I've got two layers to be split because I have an insulation right here. See, as you can see, easily you can split your parts and get insulation. You can get panels, you can get sheathing, as well can you place insulation between your studs and split your parts by studs, and then you have insulation just inside of your frame. And if we're talking about ventilated facades, it's we have another tool which is also included in that solution. As you remember, it's a smart connections tool. And actually with that tool, you can easily add details based on your rules. So let's say I'm selecting two insulation parts, and then I just need to click on insert element and choose the rule that I want to apply. So for now, I'm choosing the rule which was created called insulation fastener here by creating a rule where I'd like to place those fasteners. So all I need to do is just click on insert elements, and as you can see, the elements are being inserted by my configurations, but a more efficient way is to write configuration into your element. So actually, whenever I was splitting those parts, the tool also write the configuration that I wanted to have written just in the part, as well as it's written it into another part, different configuration. And let's say I also would like to add a wall right here. And let's take a concrete wall. Let's draw it by exterior, and let's just place it right here. So if I go back to my 3D view, see I have a wall here, which also has its own configuration written into its type parameter. So right now, all I need to do is just to select those elements. I'm not selecting all the parts actually, so we don't waste your time. And all I need to do actually just click on auto insert, and then the tool automatically checks all the elements. It checks what kind of configuration was written into those elements. Also, it gives me some report. And as you can see, I've got all those elements automatically placed. Would it be the fasteners for the installations? Would it be my brackets to keep hold the tracks, as well as my panels also were automatically attached to my profiles. And the rules can not only be like by some specific layout. So for example, I can show really easily that my rules are not actually based on same layout. I can move manually any element I'd like. I can actually even copy those elements manually using native Revit commands. And the tool will, of course, recognize those elements, and all I need to do is actually to update the details on my host element. And as you can see, all the brackets were added on those studs that were moved manually or actually created using Revit copy command. And with those all rules, we can go really, really far. Just go create rules. In the future, we just use those to have everything automatically created. So for example, right now I just inserted some additional elements like gaskets really automatically with all needed offsets. So let's say this gasket finishes here, this gasket finishes here. If I hide this cover, you can see that also some bolts were added onto my glass holder. You can add any other details if needed, and just in a matter of a few clicks, getting the curtain wall very detailed and very quickly. So the same thing actually applies not only for walls, as you can see here, but it applies also for roofs as well as floors. As you can see, those tools are very, very similar. It's just that few things are different because, for example, walls, sorry for that. Just the walls don't have, for example, rafters. That's why the tool has rafters and this one does not, as well as there are differences, slightly different things inside. But the main idea of the tools is the same because they frame your wall, the split parts, and they just make your life easier. So maybe let's switch to another view. And as you can see, I here prepared the Revit model with different Revit elements like walls, curtain walls, floors, and so on. I can show you how quickly and easily you can frame that building. Of course, I won't be framing it all because, again, I don't want to waste your time, but let's try to make it really quick. So first of all, I'm going to isolate those walls, and let's say I'd like to split some longer walls into small, shorter pieces because maybe I'm just having panels, I'm not framing the whole wall. So what you actually can do, you can just look what else is included into our metal framing solution, and we'll see that there are tools like to help you to create layouts for floors, roofs, and walls. So I'm using the wall one. I can easily just go and say I want to split that wall. Of course, I have settings that I've adjusted. And what I need to do is just go and split that wall. And as you can see, it was split again into panels in a matter of seconds, keeping the distance between the split and my doors and so on. And what else? All I need to do is just select my walls. Again, click frame wall. The tool just analyzes those and frames them in a matter of seconds. The same I can do actually with the ventilated facade wall. As you can see, it's the same wall that I was actually using in this view. As you can see, it's the same projects, the same wall, so I get the same result, but I'm seeing that we are a bit behind the schedule, so maybe let's not frame that wall, maybe let's frame something else. So let's say I have a floor and the floor right here. So I just need to bring my floor tool. Again, I have the rules created. I can use them infinitive times in the future. I just need to create them once, maybe adjust them time by time. Maybe I need to create several different rules for different conditions. But the further you go, the faster you can work and the more information you already have. As you can see, the floor was also framed in a matter of seconds. And also we can create, for example, windows out of curtain walls if we are too lazy, or I don't know, any other reason that we don't want to create window families for different sizes, for differently divided windows and so on. So you can just take those curtain walls and just, I don't know, apply the framing elements on it, and you will get a really detailed and nice window if you have the tool and if you have created the rules how those specific curtain walls should be framed. And as you can see, I'm getting those profiles. Maybe let's switch to shaded, like really detailed. So let's go back maybe to that view. And let's talk maybe first about the trusses. So the thing here is that we also can create a truss using our software. Actually, this rule is pretty much pretty much simple. So try two ways how to create trusses. If you don't find a truss in our library, you always can create a truss on your own, and you can create really easily just by clicking right here. As you can see, the tool catches my line as well as it catches the roof slope and the roof shape, and I can actually just, by drawing those lines, create a truss, the truss I want, and just in a few clicks, giving it a name, my truss, let's say. I'll just go and create it. Okay, just casual Revit notifications about something being too short or slightly out of axis. But as you can see, the truss was created just in a matter of seconds. Actually, that's not the truss that I wanted to use, because I want to place my truss on that beam as well as on that beam, and you can see those beams are actually not on the same level. So I actually can create also the truss like that, but let's just take one from the library that we have. So I'll just go to the library, I'll go to monopitch trusses. So I have more trusses here. I just need, let's say, that truss has been inserted right there. And as you can see, the tool actually automatically again catches the slope of the roof. The length of the truss is defined by the model line that I just drawn, and the truss will be applied in a matter of seconds. And however, there's a small glitch with Revit. It has nothing to do with our software, that sometimes it doesn't, it freezes with the parameters. So what you need actually to do sometimes to change something in Revit, as you can see, the Revit then refreshes the family and actually starts to work, because arrays in a family sometimes not updated efficiently, so sometimes you need just to change something and change it back, and the truss seems fine. As you can see, the truss was applied, it fits my roof, and actually I can just go and array it using, I know, native Revit commands, or actually we have different arrays right here. And those are more efficient because they have more rules there, as well as they will keep they will be checking your roof. It will be also sloped, not just in that way, but if it would be going like that direction, it will also adjust the slope by arraying the truss. And what else? Okay, let's maybe quickly check my roof layout. I can select maybe one, maybe two roofs, and I can easily go and create layout, how I'd like to split those roofs. As you can see, there are lines created. I can adjust, move them, align, and so on if I'm not happy with that layout. And whenever I'm happy with that layout, after all the alignment or moving, I can just go and split my roofs into panels based on that line. So you can see it was split into panels. You can just select, for example, all those, isolate, so you can see. And you can just select any random panel, go to my roof tool now, and just need to again click on frame roof, and everything will be framed in a matter of seconds. As you can see, the panel is framed, and here we go. And actually what I need to do, I need just to frame my ventilated facades wall, which I have 6, as well as my curtain wall, which we already saw how it's being done. And also I framed the interior walls, and I have here some frame partitions. But let's save your time and just move to the model which was already framed just yesterday. So as you can see, this is the result that you will get if you just wait a little bit while the tool frames everything. As you can see, we get a really detailed curtain walls with doors and so on. We get some very detailed ventilated facade with all the finishing around the windows and so on, as well as be getting all the floors, walls, and roofs framed, as well as all the trusses also created and aligned. Oh, yeah, it's not enough just to isolate trusses. And if we switch actually to parts, you can see that also my boards were split, and I get this nice ventilated facades for that sample project. And actually, that's not all we have here. We can also go and see how we can use our tool in more ways. So, for example, if I have my own drawing, let's say just create let's create a section just right here. And if I have that section, all I need to do maybe to adjust the scale, maybe let's also hide my walls. So you can just go and hide category, and also let's see the frame. Oh, maybe I'm seeing too much frame rate here, so let's just adjust my section a little bit. And whenever I'm back to that section with just those frames, I can also adjust it to show just my first floor where I didn't split my wall into panels, so maybe this will not fit into my shop drawing sheet list. So I can just go, and adjust this view the way I like. And let's maybe also hide those elements for now. And as you can see, my wall was framed, and all I need to do just to call my smart dimension tool. It's right here. Again, I have different configurations created how I'd like to dimension different tools, different elements. So let's just go and see that I can dimension that view. All I need to do is just to click dimension, choose the frame, and then choose the rule. Choose the rule which should be used. And in one click, again, the tool just analyzes your view, checks your element, checks your rules, and you see dimensions those elements automatically. And my rule was set to dimension my studs by right edge. So as you can see, it's placed on the right edge. You can place it on the left, center, or any place in the family. Up to you. As you can see, I have some dimensions on the left and right, and it was dimensioned again in a matter of seconds. And by the way, notice that I'm having here openings that I unfortunately forgot to show you how those were inserted. So let's go back to that model, which doesn't have openings yet. So if you go back to those walls, you can see those do not have any openings where my beams are intersecting them. So if you just take, let's say, that wall, and I don't know, that beam, you will see that there are a lot of conditions where my beams are intersecting my walls. So maybe I'd like to frame them around those openings. So all I need actually to do is to use Revit interference check to find those intersections, and then use our cut opening tool. Actually, I'm skipping a few steps. I'm inserting openings that were pre-created. And here's the list of intersections taken from the Revit interference check. I can check those elements in Revit, as well as I can add some offsets for the openings, change the standard marking. Of course, those offsets also could be added automatically based on your rules, so you don't need to sit here and adjust them. So what I need to do actually to click to insert those openings. As you can see, those were inserted, close the window, and you see those openings were inserted where my beams were passing through my wall. So if I'll take all my walls again, you'll see that all those got those cuts where the openings were passing. So let's go back to that frame model and let's see what else can be done. So if I'll just turn off my part, and if I'll just isolate the wall category, you will notice that my walls actually have no marks. Let's see. So again, you can create a new rule how I'd like to fill those parameters for not just walls. That could be, I know, your structural framing elements, structural connections, those could be our windows and so on. But whenever rules are ready, all I need to do is just to click to number elements. So let's say I'm numbering my walls. And my rule was said that my interior walls should get numbering IW. So you see, just a simple rule. And my exterior walls were getting EW. Of course, I can create more complex rules to have foundation wall differently named, as well as I can create a rule to set the mark also including the level number or department letter and so on. As you can see, it can be numbered. And whenever everything is created, whenever everything is numbered, you can just go and create different, not different, I mean, but shop tickets for those frames. So all we need to do is select at least one element from the frame or the wall. And of course, you need to have your rules created in advance, but again, just create them once and you can use them in the future. So as you can see, I don't have any assembly views right here, so I need just to create the first one. And just in a matter of seconds, it will create all the views for me. It will place all the dimensions, all those views, as well as tag all the elements. And as you can see, here's my first assembly, and here actually here's the 3D view. Here's the front view, also some front view just for the frame. Also the gravity point was calculated, and actually what I can do, I can place those views on the sheet. Oops, sorry. Let's maybe place the front view, maybe let's place the plan view. I can place them in any order I like. Maybe let's make a few examples. Let's say it's sheathing from here, a back, front, doesn't matter. You decide how to create those, so any place you like. And then just in the tool, you can say that those two sheets are the template sheets, so all the other sheets should be created based on those two examples. So I'm saving that, and whenever I'm going to create any other shop drawing, it will not only create all those views with dimensions and tags, it also will place those views on the sheet. So as you could see, we went from very zero to very detailed and very let's say a very detailed project with all the elements not just being placed, those elements are also being marked. Those elements also got all the information which will be needed for my schedules or for my tagging. So let's say, as you can see, that was created based on my that example, as well as I can place, I know, some schedule with all the elements that also to fill those, how to say, that schedule when it was creating those elements, as well as calculated the mass for them based on the density of the material. And what else? Yeah, you see that the wall was created, the view was placed, and right here the sheeting was also placed in the center of the page, as I've just did it in my sheathing page example. So as you can see, it's very efficient when you have your rules created, as well as when you know how to use the tool properly. So shortly, that would be it for our demonstration. And now if you have any questions, you can ask those, as well as I show you shortly how you can get a free trial. So to get a free trial, you need to go to our webpage, which is just aga-cad.com. It doesn't matter if you write it with a dash or without it. Just need to go to aga-cad.com. And actually, it doesn't matter on which tool you click. Would it be a metal framing or any other tool? All you need to do is to click on free trial. And actually downloading not the tool, but you're downloading the dock, as you can see. And the dock is the tool that you could see on my screen on the right, where I can access all the tools. I can also add them into the ribbon if needed, as well as I can use them right here, or I can just activate them just from the dock, download them from the dock, and just close the dock if I don't need it anymore and bring it up in any time I need. But whenever you're on the web page and loaded the dock, also check the getting started and overview tabs right here so you don't miss anything. As well as don't forget to choose the Revit version before downloading. So if you switch to a different version, you will see different buttons being generated, and you can download the dock, you can watch the videos, and at least try our tools. I hope that was informative for you, and if you can contact us anytime by the call, by the email provided right here. And also you can contact us if you missed something, if you didn't understand something, we can make a live demonstration just for you. And we will, during that demonstration, we will answer all the questions. So thank you for your time. Bye, and have a nice day.
aga-cad, building BIM together.